So I would like to introduce ourselves. I'm János, leading the surface modeling designing team in Polestar Design. Joined Polestar Design 1.5 years ago. Before that, I was working deeply in the Volkswagen concern, involved in several concept cars and also in the late phase. And in my last stage in Skoda Design, I met my colleague Josef, and there we started to try out what is possible in Blender with the early phase and how far we can go. JP in the middle is our key person in the Polestar Design Community, but he will talk about this later. What I wanted to tell as an introduction is basically our workflow. Being in the automotive industry, we stick to traditions quite well. And in this traditional workflow, there are predefined roles of the creative part, which is the designer, the creative designer. I used to call it the brain. And there is a surface designer who is in some companies only as executing. But the best is if they can work together like one merged unit. And in our opinion, Blender helps to achieve this, because Blender became kind of a democratic tool for 3D modeling. And not only for professionals who are used to use professional design tools, but also for people who are just starting. You can learn Blender very fast. There are many of online tutorials, which makes the accessibility very easy. And this is changing, in my opinion, the roles in this workflow. The roles are fading. They are still there, but it's more like an orchestra, where you have the conductor and the musicians who are basically a very strong team together, and none of them can exist without the other person. Yeah, and but we see as well that with the help of Blender, you can work kind of simultaneously. The designer can sketch on variations. If we are talking about the exterior, for instance, the designer can work on a different kind of front, while a modeler is perfect, making the model more and more perfect. So this is pretty much our approach, let's say, at the start. And now I would like to hand over to JP to talk about the design community, which is a very important part of Polestar.
Thank you, János. Okay, everybody hear me? We're good. Let's kick in with a little animation with the Polestar synergy. I'm sure you have seen it. For those who haven't, let's watch it. So this is me. I'm JP. I'm originally from Colombia, South America, Bogota. And I've been living here in Sweden for the last 14 years. So I studied transportation design in IED in Italy. And then after that, I did a master in Umeå here in Sweden. A few internships here and there, Opel, Scania, and then I joined Volvo in 2010, where I was an interior designer and playing an important role within the transformation of a brand. After that, I left Volvo and I joined Polestar. So currently I've been involved in Polestar Synergy, Polestar 4, and Polestar 2. I'm currently an interior design manager, and I'm leading a team of really talented designers. But I'm also, besides everything I do, I have my little umbrella, which is I'm the creator and founder and moderator of the Polestar Design Community on Instagram. So let's move to the next topic. So, as you all know, we're all constantly looking for trends, right? So we're passionate, I'm a passionate designer looking for trends, looking to make your unique design, we're always kind of trying to find what's out there. And this is basically my everyday, hunting for images, for things that I could feed back to the team and make them super inspired, So one day I decided to create my own blog, which is called Desi1, which I don't run any longer. But I started creating a lot of assets, and by the time we were coming to the launch of the Polestar 2, and I felt quite as an ambassador for the brand because it was the first electric car, and we were coming out with the brand, so it was a big moment. And I thought, okay, I feel important. It's a nice moment. Maybe we start creating some images and just share them with this blog. And then as a side story, personal story, which is quite interesting, one day our CEO, Thomas Ingela, he just called me and said like, hey, I would like to have lunch with you. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. Not every day happens, but very nice. So we had a chat and he's like, hey, what are you doing with this blog? I see some Polestar curating material. Sounds really interesting. It looks very nice. What are you thinking we can create a community for Polestar? Where we share a little bit more of the design insights and what we do. And I was like, wow, that sounds amazing. So since then, the whole thing started, and we created what is called today the Polestar Design Community. So the Polestar Design Community, it's a platform on Instagram where we're basically showcasing amazing designs from our designers, so internally, and also showcasing talents from around the world. I can see that people around the world using the Polestar brand as a brief to create some amazing work, and it's really nice to see how a brand that it's a startup, how people, new talents, new designers, they just grasp what Polestar is all about. But the good thing with it is that for us, it helped us always to kind of find the talents, spot the talents that we could maybe bring into our team. As an example, around 3 or 4 from the interior team designers are via this process. Also, winners from the contest are now some of them are part of the exterior team. So it's been really interesting for us to kind of have this, let's say, community to be able to have this. But of course, help and create the awareness of the brand and engagement to our brand. I usually do a lot of like coaching support. So when people even send me a sketch, it's like, hey, I've done this, what do you think? And then we tweak it together till we make it a little bit Polestar oriented. So within that, we started what is called the Inktober Polestar Challenge, right? And it's known as Inktober because it's the month of the ink. And then we thought, like, okay, let's do a little contest, a little challenge. And it went like this. It was exponentially. It was so well received. And I remember I was at a wedding, and then Thomas called me. He's like, hey, what are we doing for this? For the price for this, it looks amazing. The material has been super well curated, very nice entries. And I said, well, so far I'm so little in this community. We only got merchandise, and he's like, oh, we need to fly the guys together. We need to escalate. We do something else. So the whole thing was kind of growing from that moment, and then that created something that we said, okay, but let's make it even serious. Let's make a Polestar Design Contest. And what we've done till now is that we basically have done 3 design contests, and we touch on our different core values. So we touch on pure, we touch on progressive, and we touch on performance. So in 2020, we introduced the Polestar Design Contest with the theme pure, and that gave us a really nice variety of entries. It was from boats, from sports cars, from city cars, from eVTOLs, from drones. It was such a cool variety, you know, and everything was so curated, so colorful. It was a fantastic mix. And to see how designers could grasp the Polestar design theme, you know, and do their own take, it was just amazing. So within the process, we have different stages, which we kind of then select along the different gates. And that you can sort of see more through the community. It's quite a short time to go through the whole story. But this was the result. So we had a winner for the student, Sidesh. We did this eVTOL. And then we had Conrad. We had this autonomous pod. And then we had always a honorable mention because his work, Arthur's work, was always amazing, but it was not to the level of where it needed to be. But we always thought it's just so nice. So we created that kind of separate chapter. But within this, it also creates something really interesting, which is the media coverage. It created awareness, and we were in all these different type of magazines, articles, and this was fantastic for the winners to kind of get exposed and be out there and, you know, promote who they are. And so it was very, very nice. And one thing leads to another. So then suddenly then we start talking to Balenciaga, and then he was like, hey, our fall collection is coming out. Would you be interesting to be part of the afterworld? And I was like, wow, what's that? And so they want to use some of the designs that have been part of the contest and our Polestar precept to sort of drive around to create a little bit of a futuristic scene. So that was something very special. After that, in 2020, we created the Polestar Design Contest based on progress. And that was another like mesmerizing kind of moment because it created another amazing, really nice entries. You know, it had like city cars, again, like flying objects. You have trains, you have like full cities developed of how you can sort of connect and create a hub around the Polestar. Like these video game pods. It was really cool. And these were kind of the winners. So we had Mingwei for the student category. We have David. It's good to say that Mingwei now is intern at the exterior team. David is part of our visualization team. And of course, we had the honorable mention, Christian. And, you know, one thing leads to another. So, I mean, it's always nice to dream big. And then one day, I hope this plays. Yeah. We created some little animations for the winner, you know, in the world. So this is Mingwei. This is David with the Polestar hub. And this is Koya with Christian. And you know, one thing leads to another. And then suddenly Polestar Finland was like, hey, we want to build Koya. We want to make it real. Can we do that? So basically what they did was that they used some of their budget to then create awareness to the brand, and then say, okay, let's do some test drives. So basically what people could do was that they could get a Polestar 2 by the Polestar space and then drive to this little area and then be able to stay overnight.
I wanted to create like some sort of a lighthouse or a lantern in this deep forest that is lighting our way towards more sustainable future.
And this
Seeing this being built now in real life is like very unbelievable feeling. I mean, it's very monumental.
So yeah, dream big. And then of course, last but not least, we have Polestar Design Contest 2022-23, which was based on performance from my side, which created a lot of variety. You know, it was some really cool, and this was like, you know, performance. Go out there and sketch and create something really cool. This is about sports, is about performance, but how can you make performance in a different way? You know, how can you make it in a Polestar way? So this was some of like the shortlist that we had, and then we selected 3 winners. And I'm sure you've seen a little bit. Maybe some of you are more aware than others, but for this specific contest, we created 2 winners for the exterior category and 1 for the interior. And the reason why is because we had 2 winners. They were very unique on their own, and they had very unique stories, but there was none that was like spot on. So we said, maybe we could do a collaboration between these 2, and we could take some of the areas from one and from the other and try to blend. And this was super interesting. So together with exterior designer Maxime Salerier and these guys, we created what is today Polestar Synergy. And you could see some of their sketches, how the entries looked like. Devashi's was very much more of a fluid, soft character, while Devashi's was a little bit more square, more architectural, more minimalistic. So they both have their own really interesting areas. And then, of course, the winner of the interior was Lingshan Li, but he was approaching it for a 2-seater. So since we were doing this kind of combination, we also needed to transform the interior to go from that 2-seater to 1-seater so that it could adapt. So we did with the same collaboration, and we were kind of via Teams, we were sharing, we were collaborating, and that was the beauty of it. And here are some images of Polestar Synergy. So this is the final model, and this year we built it full size. And the reason why it's Polestar 2022-23 is because we need to take care of this a little bit longer, a little bit, put more love into it, because it was a full size model. And this is at Hulte rolling the car on its way to the Munich event. Such an awesome moment. And of course, have it at the Polestar space in Munich celebrating. Thomas being part of it, super proud and happy, and Max as well. Like everyone was having a good time. And of course, that creating a lot of boost in media. There's been a lot of articles around. And for those maybe in Sweden, Gothenburg, the car is going to be tomorrow at eCar Expo. And feel free to follow more of Polestar Design Community and Polestar at Polestar Design Community on Instagram. Last but not least, what's coming up is something really fun. It's going to be a collaboration between Polestar and Hot Wheels. So that one, stay tuned for 2024 design contest. And with that, I would like to hand over to Josef.
Hello guys, I'm Josef Bem, a surface designer in Polestar. I would like to have a much more technical and sort of hands-on thing here, so bear with me. For this project, we worked in Blender, and because of the flexibility we needed for this kind of task. We had these 2 amazing models from the designers, and as Janusz mentioned, the boundaries between the designers and modelers are sort of blurring. So it's great to have common language now, much more than was the case before. So it's the best thing for the modeler if we get awesome sketches and also such a cool model because we really have an idea what the intent is and what kind of proportions we should go for and stuff like that. So we had many loops between designers and us, and sort of experimenting a lot. We had great fun, and we arrived at something pretty cool, which is the synergy concept you have seen. And this is the sub-D model in Blender. And I would like to talk specifically about workflow. This is kind of my thing from my entire career. I care a lot about the kind of bigger picture with the sub-D modeling. So in automotive, it's not like a standalone thing, the model. You need to kind of imagine the whole process and all the other people in the team. And so I have this simple graph to illustrate kind of the ideas behind this. And so you might know very well that you can get very quickly a really nice model in sub-D to show on the screen. Maybe it doesn't look so nice when you mill it and make it real, but then you can improve it and keep the flexibility, which was the key in this case. We need a lot of flexibility to change things on the go to the last moment. And if you push for the quality further and further with the sub-D, you might get into a little bit of trap as the model gets more dense and so on. And so usually in automotive that is the case, that you need this kind of last push for this quality. You see the traditional approach with surfacing in alias or ISM is very sort of established. So you have this kind of linear progression. And with sub-D, you kind of quickly jump, and then you almost arrive at the final destination, but at least as of now, not really like completely, because especially in Polestar and automotive in general, we care a lot about these like last 5% of the quality. And so my experience, past experiences, is that this kind of transition when you need to resurface the sub-D model into NURBS can be a pain point. It can cause a lot of hurdles in the project. And so we used this concept also as a test bed for improving our workflow. And we tried to push with the sub-D as much as possible in terms of quality, while keeping the flexibility needed for this kind of thing. And I think we did a great job, because the final surfacing phase was super fast and super smooth, and the final model, which went for milling, looks almost exactly as the sub-D. So this is, I think, for my side, the achievement of this concept, of this workflow. And kind of look like this. Just the general, just the ordinary sub-D, nothing, no special tricks, but for that to achieve, you need to have diagnostic tools. So here's the one thing I would like to show you. There's an add-on which was developed during this project, and you are missing sometimes in Blender like a proper diagnostic tools to achieve quality needed. So you have like a one-click solution for zebra shader, which you can kind of play with, or like ISO angle shader, very useful. You might know from Alias. You can have sections which are crucial actually in sub-D modeling, because it can happen that the lines are perfect, but then if you mill it, you find out that the surfaces are hollow or doesn't behave as good as you want to. So we use the sections a lot in the project. You can kind of have a nice intuitive control over it. Or you can do also fun stuff like curvature shader, for instance. And so like this, we can really kind of nail down the quality as much as possible. And we can be sure that there is no like twisting where it shouldn't be, and it's all built correctly, even though the sub-D is more like a artistic thing. You have a lot of freedom but it's maybe not so easy to get like proper mathematical correctness into the thing. We were using also curvature shaders. And like this, you can really dial in everything you need for the final handover to the resurfacing and, for the final product. And since this is Blender, we don't have only like a nice model, but it's super easy to have beautiful visualizations out of this. So with linking and cycles, you can just super quickly establish a scene. Just throw in some lights, do a couple of lighting scenarios, cameras. And since the model is linked to your original working file, you can have like super fast iterations, and you can render out all the phases you have and really kind of explore. And basically, the Blender is at least for me, a game changer in visualization, because it's quite easy to use. And with the real-time compositor, especially now, you almost don't need Photoshop, sometimes. And for the Blender 4.0, that goes even further. So we are really excited about that. And if you have any questions about the diagnostic tools or the cycles rendering, feel free to ask in the chat. And I would like to hand it over to Janos to wrap it up.
Okay, thank you, Janos.
Okay. So my last words, it would be something like lesson learned from this project. We definitely see, what Josep was telling, basically during the whole process until pretty much the very end, we did use only Blender for the surfacing. And only at the end, when he pointed out some areas that he can't do it better. So and he was telling, okay, we have to resurface some areas. And therefore, we really did the big visible areas on the car for the model building. We resurfaced them in ISMSurf. But many of the areas we kept still in Blender. And this is something I think what we see as a possible general process how we could do cars in future. I think more for many of you who are not in the car OEM business, you are looking at us like we are doing it already, but we need some higher quality of surfacing, and therefore we need this high precision alias or ISM surfaces. But we are facing issues if we are extending the use of the Blender surfacing. We are facing issues with also with the engineers. So it's definitely a communication thing as well, and we have to reach out to our colleagues and help them. And one of the things is that maybe we can gain quality in future. Also, if somebody would develop AI tools to control quality in Blender inside. But this is just conspiration, but it would be nice maybe in the future. Okay, that would be it from my side.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce Zsofia for the Q&A session. Please.
Hello guys. So I'm car design consultant working closely with car brands in Europe, and yeah, I was reading through the chat and through my Instagram stories, and there were a lot of cool questions. So to make sure everybody understand who designed the add-on, that was a question which was repeating here in the chat.
So this is that's the thing. It's just like a private. It's a private thing from me, where we kind of went ahead and tested together on the contest car. So it's sort of collaboration there. But it's outside of Polestar, but it's connected to this project.
And designers were asking like if they can download this add-on and where.
Sure. On Blender Market actually costs $15 or a free version, so it's quite accessible. Hopefully,
so cool.
No, just search for Surf Ace Diagnostics on Blender Market or Gumroad.
Cool. And yeah, I have a question for JP also. How important, in your opinion, is for young designers, for aspiring designers and design students to post on social medias and kind of market themselves for the brands, for the automotive design field?
If you ask me, I would say that's your number one tool nowadays. I think social media, what it's creating it's a very interesting sort of browse to your portfolio, and most of the times, different companies now, different sort of design bosses are very connected to social media, and they just kind of like browse, and then suddenly, oh, there's a good talent, and then that thing spikes to another, and then that's what I was saying before, that was the way to kind of scam for talents for our team, and we're usually doing that all the time. So I would say yes, it's super important.
Mm-hmm. So do you see like students are using basically Instagram as their portfolio nowadays?
Yeah, for sure.
You just send the link to Instagram or Behance, and yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
That's it.
I feel quite old, to be honest.
And like it was amazing to see how community oriented is Polestar brand, and how you kind of picked out and curated the talents, and you like were mentoring them in some process, and then you were guiding them into journey, and now you have the talents inside the studio. So it's amazing how it grew from 2019. Yeah. Cool. And we have also one question for Joseph, for you. If you can show also the interior model in edit mode in Sub-D.
Oh, sure. We have
People are curious. We have a lot of Blender community people here.
That's good.
I have to say the interior actually was milled all the way from Blender to
really?
Full-size model. So there was no iterations within it. And that was very cool to see that you can get that sort of refinement and quality look like. So it was very good.
And this is also the thing that this kind of level of detailing, what is on this model, it's way easier to achieve and keep updated with the aid of Blender than with Alias or any other NURBS tool.
And how did you work with the contest participant on this model? Like you were exchanging sketches or also like Blender models? How was the whole designer modeler communication in this case?
Yeah, it was a back and forth dialogue all the time. I mean, via Teams, we were having sessions with them. We were getting their models. We had coaching sessions. So we put it up on our screen, and then Maxima, myself, and together with Joseph, we were kind of giving them some input for their own designs. And then when we kind of jumped and cooperate even more to the next level, then we were very much sort of hands-on, all of us, to make sure that we could deliver the best product. So it was great fun. So I would say collaboration is super important. If you want to achieve a nice, good quality result, you need to collaborate with your teammates.
Amazing. And like Joseph, you had this graph like where the Sub-D and NURBS was intersecting. And do you think with these diagnostic shaders, do you think like you can reach almost a class surfacing with a Sub-D?
Not quite, because Sub-D has some quirks in it. It's the mathematics behind it don't allow you to do some specific control over specific corners. You always end up having like a little artifact somewhere in the model, and to clean it up, you would have to really make it super dense. And it's just okay. So to conclude, my answer is it would be impractical, I would say, as of now. I hope this will change in the future, But as of now, we don't have proper control over the subdivision models to really kind of polish it out. And yeah, I hope I will help to change that, to be honest.
Where do you have the time for it? It's amazing. Like you are full-time modeler and you are basically coding and developing add-ons. That's insane.
Well, most of it happens in the night after kids went to sleep, you know.
The best thing happen when kids go asleep. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Designer's life, modeler's life.
Yes. Red eyes
Red eyes.
Yeah.
and a headache.
And how long did it take you to develop the whole add-on?
It's been going on for a while. It's based on geometry nodes modifiers, and those I played with for a long time. And this kind of add-on was created, mostly during this project. So like a year in the making, but very kind of occasionally. But the final push was happening for this synergy concept, so we can kind of use it there. And my colleagues in Polestar were kind enough to kind of help me test it and improve it.
That's so nice. It's so nice. Like you have the time and space to do also the development and to push the workflow to the next stage. Yeah.
It was very exciting.
Okay, and we have also a question about the Hot Wheels. Like, JP, can you share more, or it's still a secret?
We're currently developing the brief, so we have not much more information yet. So I think by the beginning of next year, we will roll out the brief and then allow everyone to take part of this amazing contest. I think it's going to be super exciting. So
Okay,
just
that's
hang in
amazing.
there.
That's exciting, and I think like a lot of people from here from chat will join also the competition. Excited to see it. And maybe my last question: if you have like the best tool for collaboration, or like how do you imagine the best workflow possible between the designer and the modeler and let's say design manager? Like what would be the ideal scenario in your opinion, János, maybe?
For me, it's honestly speaking, I was dreaming about this inside of Blender, but I think Gravity Sketch made it.
We just need the shaders and the diagnostic.
Yes, and many other things maybe, but really a real virtual space where you can be together and work together, and maybe that like in the clay model. This is my my point on the clay model. If you have a real one-to-one scale clay model, the designer can work together and lead the sculptors, and they can propose, and they are working simultaneously. And then a design manager can come by and just see and check the models. And this is, I think it would be super nice to have this space in the virtual space. And
like this digital experience, like where you can almost like touch the one-to-one and
yes, and
work
if
on
it
the
is,
same car at the same time and
if
space.
it is mixed reality or augmented reality, if you can stand by a normal car, then you know also that you see also close to it some trusted object where you know how it looks, if you like it or not. And I think this is very important. I think the possibility of comparison is very underestimated. I think we permanently, I mean, basically our brain is every time comparing things to that what is existing in our here inside, and sometimes is playing us and telling that it's something is nicer, and without the real comparison, I don't believe that that you can really make good decisions. So yeah,
So
honestly speaking, it would be also good for the whole software development if there would be another brand as well or company besides of Gravity Sketch who would do the same. Right now there is nothing.
That would push us even more. Yeah. But I agree, you need to check the reality. And it's also like when you have something in Blender, if you have in VR or in real reality, these are three different realities and you kind of need to adjust your decision making based on the media, because you will be surprised like how the Blender can turn out in the milled model, or Gravity Sketch in the milled model. Yeah. Cool. So we are a bit over the time, but thank you all for joining. It was exciting. We are all in the new Polestar challenge, and I think many people will join. And thank you for this amazing add-on demo. I need to try it on. So thank you so much, Janos,
Awesome, thank you.
JP, and Pepa
Thank you.
for joining
Thank you
us.
for this opportunity. Have a nice
Thank you so
evening.
much for having us.
With a pleasure. See you.
All right,
Ta-da.
take care.